Sometimes the best surprise is no surprises at all. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and today we're going to review the TCL 5 Series Roku TV. That would be the S555, possibly one of the easier TV model numbers to remember, honestly. Now, this is a TV I've been looking forward to checking out because, as you may recall, I reviewed the 2021 5 Series Roku TV. That was the S555. It was a solid TV, but then the 5 Series Google TV came out. That was the S546 at the beginning of this year, and it boasted some improvements over the Roku TV we had reviewed earlier, which was a bit of a departure for TCL. Normally, I'd have expected it would be essentially the same TV, just under a different smart TV platform. Well, the S546, which you can still buy, by the way, was better. And although it was a bit buggy at the time, those bugs have now been largely worked out. Still, I've been eager to check out the S555 here because it is meant to have all the picture quality improvements of the Google TV version, but built on Roku. That being the case, I feel like I knew exactly what to expect from this TV. But because I hadn't yet gotten a chance to evaluate it for myself, I wasn't comfortable including it in some of my best TVs list for 2022. Different sizes of the S555 here could make the best under $500 list and the best under $1,000 list. But because I hadn't tested it myself, I just wasn't ready to go there. Well, if you ask me, it ain't too late. This TV is still going to be relevant for many months to come. And at the time I'm recording this video, the holiday shopping season is still very much underway. So let's see how this TV does, what you can expect from it, and whether you might want to buy this TV or, say, a competing model like the Hisense U7H. Before we jump in, two quick reminders. One is that we've got a big giveaway announcement coming up soon. We're celebrating that 1 million subscriber milestone, so keep an eye open for that video, and the best way to do that is to subscribe and ring that bell. Also, because it is scam season and because we are running a giveaway soon, a reminder that we will never ask you to get a hold of us via Telegram or any other social media platform. Those are all scams. We'll be running our giveaway through our secure page on our secure website, digitaltrends.com, and we'll be linking to it from the description of our announcement video, which thankfully is one place scammers can't get to. All right, let's talk about this TV. So at the top of this video, I said no surprises. What does that mean? Well, starting with getting the TV out of the box, it means the S555 looks and operates a lot like I thought it would. This TV is relatively inexpensive, but it isn't the cheapest you can buy, and that pretty much describes the TV's looks and build quality. It's not flashy, but it ain't trashy either. The only thing that struck me as odd as I assembled this TV was that the screws didn't want to seat in their holes as I screwed them in. I mean, all's well that ends well, the feet are now secure in the TV, but it was an interesting touch point. Still far from a surprise. Now, the feet only go in one spot on this TV, unlike some models where you can position them inward so you can set it on a smaller media stand or shelf. You'll need some width to accommodate this TV. In the case of this 65-inch model that we have here, about 50.25 inches. Now, there's no real cable management, so I would suggest getting some Velcro ties to keep the cable mess to a minimum. I also find those Velcro ties clutch for when you're wall mounting too, way better than zip ties for multiple reasons. If you do wall mount, I think you'll like the way this TV looks. Like most decent TVs these days, it's got minimal bezels on the top and sides and a matte black strip along the bottom. Now, that light under the TCL logo in the center can be turned off in the menu if you want, by the way. You know, it's funny, that same light on a TV I have at home drives me nuts, and I know I can turn it off. For some reason, I just don't. Don't be like me, just turn it off in the Roku menu if you want. Now, for connectivity, this TV offers 4 HDMI inputs, and none of them offer full HDMI 2.1 bandwidth. But that does not mean this is a poor TV for gaming. It's pretty solid for gaming, actually. So you know what? Let's just talk about gaming right now. It's got a 60 Hertz native panel, so it will max out at 4K 60 Hertz, but it does offer variable refresh rate, or VRR, including basic FreeSync. Now, how useful that will be to you, I'm not sure. It basically goes down to 48 Hertz and up to 60 Hertz, which isn't a huge range, but that seems to mitigate a little bit of screen tearing in games that aren't locked at a low refresh rate. I think what really makes this a decent gaming TV for me though is the very low input lag, about 11 seconds in game mode at most resolutions, which is awesome. That right there is going to make gameplay feel great. And then the HDR performance in game mode, as I'll discuss shortly, is also quite nice. Now, before I get into some picture quality measurement data, I do want to talk about one slight annoyance that remains from prior 5 Series models that I've tested, and that's a little bit of lag in the interface operation. From time to time, clicking around at a fast pace will get you hung up. It unfreezes eventually, but I'm easily annoyed by that. Also, if you have the TV connected to a soundbar, powered speakers, or an AV receiver via ARC or eARC, yes, it does support eARC, then you'll notice changing the volume is a really slow affair. Again, an annoyance that I expected as I experienced this on other TCL Roku TVs. Now, as promised, it's time for my favorite segment, Numbers for Nit Nerds. Now, if you care not for the nitty-gritty, sorry. Look, you don't have to stick around for Nerd Time Theater. You can skip ahead to the picture quality takeaway using the timecode link down in the description. But for my nit nerds out there, here's the basics. This TV, for me, punched up to about 550 nits in SDR and just shy of 800 nits in HDR when calibrated to D65 white point. Now, the SDR brightness I got is a tad lower than what some other folks have gotten, while the HDR peak brightness is a bit higher than what some other reviewers got. And that's in the dark HDR setting, by the way, with warm color temperature and local dimming feature maxed out. Now, my take on this TV includes that 800 nit result because I factory reset this TV and checked many, many times over, and it came in that way every single time. So I'd like to think it is representative of what's on the market, but it did come straight from TCL, so keep that in mind. At any rate, the out-of-box white point and color errors on this TV in the movie mode for SDR and dark HDR mode for HDR10 were not bad, just shy of 4 on the white balance and about the same for color. So technically visible, but not by much. And it didn't take a lot for me to correct the bright white balance. For some reason, my adjustments through the Roku app were ineffective at 10, 20, and 30% luminance for white. I'm not sure why. I'm reaching out to TCL about that. But hey, I really don't see anyone getting this TV calibrated. So what's important to me is that it looks great out of the box. And in those picture modes, it does. In standard, it is unsurprisingly way too blue, and of course, vivid looks like hot garbage, or I guess it would be cold garbage, right? But that's true on just about any TV. Anyway, here's my take on the picture quality. It is rock solid for the price. For anyone who remembers how impressed reviewers were with the TCL 6 series from like 3 or 4 years ago, it's like that. Today's TCL 5 series looks like yesterday's TCL 6 series, but at a lower price. And I mean, who can complain about that? The SDR brightness and HDR brightness are solid for the price, though not the best out there. I'll get to that in a minute. The contrast is excellent for the price thanks to solid backlight control, even if it doesn't have a ton of local dimming zones. The color is brilliant and well saturated, on angle at least, and motion is perfectly acceptable, though you won't get as smooth a picture from this TV as one that does up to 120 Hertz. You do, however, get a bit less stutter since the reaction time isn't as quick, which I think some people will actually prefer. My only real complaints about this TV, one is that the off-angle viewing is not great. If you're sitting dead on center, you're getting a really, really nice picture. If you sit off to the side, you really aren't. Thanks to the VA panel, we get those deep blacks and great contrast, but also thanks to the pretty basic VA panel, we also get disappointing off-angle viewing. It is what it is. Also, I didn't exactly win the panel lottery on this TV with regard to dirty screen effect. It isn't terrible, but I see it. Now, if you don't really see dirty screen effect, now isn't the time to remove the veil from your eyes, not if you're considering this TV or another at its price point. It's kind of just part of the deal. Also, no surprise, the TV's sound quality is not great. And by that I mean I would personally not be able to go without at least a basic soundbar. I almost hate bringing it up because it's so common at this price point, but then there's the Hisense U7H, which sounds better than it should, and well, that's as good a segue as any to what I think is an inevitable comparison. So who should buy this TV and who should buy the Hisense U7H? Well, first, I know there are some out there who may not feel that's a fair comparison. And that's because as I'm making this video, the Hisense U7H costs a bit more than the TCL S55. Actually, the S555 here sits between Hisense's U6H and U7H in terms of price, which makes doing a direct comparison kind of difficult. But since the picture quality is so similar between the two, I'm gonna go ahead and make the comparison anyway, because I think a lot of shoppers are gonna do the same. So first off, if you prefer the Roku OS built into the TV, well then the S555 is the choice. But if we take the smart TV platform out of consideration, you do get better specs from the U7H. It's a brighter TV in both SDR and HDR, and it has a 120 Hz panel with HDMI 2.1 bandwidth support from 2 of its HDMI inputs. Although it does seem to struggle with proper 4K 120 Hz gaming a bit. Also, the Hisense U7H manages to offer judder-free 24 FPS movie content when you get it from a 60 Hz source like a cable box, whereas the TCL S555 seems to struggle with that a little bit. Not a lot, just a bit. On the other hand, the TCL S555 has lower input lag across its supported resolutions, and to me is a less flickery TV. And I'm not sure the brightness differences between the two are going to be super meaningful for most viewers. So I guess I'd say if you're a nit nerd and you want the most brightness for your money and you want a 120 Hz panel and HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, well, the U7H is probably a better choice, at least on paper. But if you want to save a little money, the TCL S555 strikes a great balance between cost and performance. The kind of performance that's impressive enough to deliver some wow to your eyes without punching much of a hole in your wallet. I've enjoyed watching it very much. Now, personally speaking, if the cost increase wasn't a concern, I'd say step up to the TCL 6 series if you can. The return on investment is well worth it if you're a video enthusiast. But if you're just looking for a solid TV that is loaded with value, the TCL S555 is an excellent choice. No surprise there. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. Did you pick up a TCL S555? And if so, what do you think about it? Let us know about it down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here's 2 other videos I think you might like.